Now that we actually have the front edge of the bricks in, we're actually going to start going down back step by step all the way down to the end. This one starts with a edger just like the front on the side here, and then we start our angled bricks in the middle here. So I'm going to set 2 on this side, 2 on this side, and then start the middle section here. The process to doing this is identical to the other thing. First is just to place the brick, get it properly positioned, which in this case we're going to be going at the edge of this brick here, and just make sure that it is lined up perfectly with that. And just tap it into place, make sure you don't mess up this end, and then just level it by placing the level on it lengthwise. Too high, press it down on one side or the other. Too low, dig it out or push them back in. Anytime you move the brick, make sure you do exactly the same process again. Position the brick and then check the level. Because if you don't get that position right, you're going to mess up your leveling once you get it done. So now we have actually gotten the front and corner part of our brick path done. We've hit a little snag. Right here I need a half brick. So we're going to go over and cut those right now. Now we're actually getting ready to cut the bricks. What we have here is just a basic miter saw. It's usually used to cut wood and other kind of material like that, but we're going to be using it to cut our bricks. When cutting brick, it's best to use a wet saw. This one is what they call a dry saw because there is no water. If you can afford a wet saw or have a wet saw, it's the better way of doing it. The blades are a lot more expensive, but they're going to last a lot longer. And if you're doing any kind of real size, you may even actually want to rent one. Since we're only doing a few half bricks, we're going to use our dry saw. Now I usually use this saw for cutting wood. And that's what this blade is for that I usually have on it. It's a very fine tooth because it's for fine cutting that I usually do. But if you use a blade like this on a brick, you're going to tear the blade up in no time whatsoever and possibly damage your saw. So you don't want to do that. Instead, what you do want to use is a grinding blade. This is like something you find on a grinder. It just literally cuts through it by grinding down the brick. The good thing is they're extremely cheap. The bad part is they do wear down, so you have to have multiples of these in order to cut through a number of bricks. So I've gone ahead and put this blade onto my miter saw. Now we're just going to take our tape measure here, put it on the end of the spacer and check, and we've got 8 inches to the end of the brick and spacer. So we're going to find that 4-inch mark right here and just make a simple mark with our pencil. Then we're actually going to take our T-square and just set it right on that mark with this edge being along the edge of the brick and just draw simply straight across that. Now we've got our center mark and we can go ahead and cut the brick. Now I'm going to take my brick and put it in the center, and since I don't have a laser line on my saw, I'm actually going to put the blade down and just make sure it lines up with that pencil line. If it's too far right, too far left, you're not hitting center with that blade, and literally you want to hit dead center on that pencil line in order to make that very smooth cut. So I've got it in the center here, and when using one of these machines, you're going to want to remember your safety. Always wear some kind of goggles in order to protect your eyes, especially when doing masonry, because that can shoot off a lot of shreds. And you don't want to put your hand anywhere near the blade, just be on the safe side in case something breaks. So we're actually going to use this clamp, and now we're ready to cut. And now we actually have our half-size brick. We're going to take these back to our path and start laying them. You might want to do a few at a time, but a saw blade has a tendency to heat up, so you do want to let it cool a little bit in between. So now we're actually taking our half brick and setting it right in this spot right here, and then the same process of making sure it's level this way and this way. Now we're dealing with half bricks, make sure you still have the spacers in the right position. now our brick path is actually complete, but the one thing I want to caution you about is walking on it. We're not quite ready for that. The next step will actually secure the brick path into place so it actually can be walked on at that point. So let's get on to that.